Jing, the concept of Jing is by itself, Qi is it's a static concept. Yeah, it's not it's not moving. So we need the Jing is the connection between, say, a hand and a foot. In a push, it's from here passing through the body, you know, round through the body, down the spine perhaps, or down the side of the body, and it's reaching the rear foot. In this case, if I were pushing, this would be pushing into the ground. Newton's third law of motion, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, that concept. So, except he didn't call it Jing, but anyway, it's the same idea. So what we need is, we need to make these connections through the body. Now, the connections only really work if you're very relaxed and the joints are open. So I probably said last week, but it's like if your joints are tight and everything's, you know, you've been to the gym an awful lot for the last 6 years and you've been 3 times a day, there's a very good chance that because of the type of equipment they have in a gym, your joints are very compressed, because gym equipment is not about opening joints, it's all about contracting muscles. It's all about contraction. The whole thing is about contraction. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It has a lot of uses, but I only wish they would do some expensive, you know, uncontractive exercises. But maybe they do, and I'm not a gym goer, so maybe I don't know. So what we're looking for is when you test a posture. So if I were in this posture here, sitting down, and you came and you took hold of my wrist from your screen towards me, and you're pushing my wrist towards me. So this is not a good position on the feet for this, but it's quite possible to resist quite a lot of push. But it's not if you don't connect everything together correctly. So this is like putting together a bit of geometry. You know, all the lines have to go in the right place. All the joints, in effect, have to connect to each other. This is a bit like a tensegrity structure, one of those things where, you know, your kid's toy, I think it often is, where you've got a bit of wood, another bit of wood, another bit of wood, another bit of wood, and they're all attached by elastic. And if you move one, all the rest kind of start to move. I don't know if you know what I mean by it. Look it up if you don't know what I mean. Tensegrity. It's a structural thing. Just go to images and you'll see lots of tensegrity images. And so one bit is totally dependent on all the other bits in a tensegrity structure. You cut with a pair of scissors, you cut one strand, and the whole thing collapses. Not part of it, the whole thing just falls to pieces. So when we're here, if I were to do this, I've broken the tensegrity structure, because this elbow is no longer sinking towards the hip or the knee. Doesn't matter, you can look at it as hip or knee, but the structure's broken. If I do this, or if I do this with the elbow, the tensegrity structure's broken, because this elbow is now pulling too far back and has compromised the shoulder, which no longer will function as sufficiently. It's when your elbow is aligned with the hip, generally speaking, and that could be here, it's aligned with the hip, yeah? Whereas if I go here and then I'm forward one, that's not aligned with the hip. Disaligned, unaligned, unaligned. That's unaligned with the hip. So ideally we have, you know, when we do this and lower the hands and I say close the armpits, we are connecting the elbow to the hip as you do that. If you do this and you leave the elbows out, you've disconnected. You can even see my elbows slightly behind my back. So all the time in postures, we reach a Tai Chi posture, say it's brush knee here, and we need to feel as though if someone were to push, you are incredibly stable, really, really stable. So you can see on the screen here that this elbow and this hip and this rear foot are all connected. That I've disconnected. This I've disconnected. This I've now really badly disconnected. The structure's completely lost down that side of the body, well, and this side actually. So when we're in this position, let's just do this one, feet parallel, yeah? Hand is in front of you here, and get your elbow level with your hip, doesn't have to touch. It can have a gap here between it. You can see there's a slight gap here. When you've got it in with your hip, you'll see your hand is pretty much in the middle of your body. This hand, index fingertip of nose. Wrist, shoulder, same height. It's another thing of we're assuming someone's pushing your hand towards you, yeah? So if my wrist and my shoulder are the same height, and I'm sitting down here a little bit, and I'm in this position, now I think this elbow dropping towards the knee, or hip, whichever you like, doesn't matter. And now I drop my bum, and between my shoulder blades, and I get the weightless head position. Now that's interestingly crucial for withstanding someone's push. The word withstanding is not good. I don't like that because that implies I'm going to go tense. Just swap your hands over. Same structure. Yeah, done nothing with the body at all. We've just swapped the hands over. So your bum's tucked under a little bit, but not too much. Don't overdo it. More a feeling of letting the bottom feel heavy. And when it drops, because it drops and this bit of your spine is opened out here a little bit, you know, those bursas in the back there, in the spine, they've undone. And it pulls up here between your shoulder blades, very gently just pulls it downwards. In other words, it connects here to here. It pulls it down. There's that feeling going on of being pulled down. Well, you don't want your head to go down as well. So that's where the weightless bit comes in. So whichever size you're on, and it makes no difference, you do whichever you like. You need to drop your bum between your shoulder blades, weightless head, and you're there. Index finger, tip of nose. Yeah. So every single posture you can relax, every single posture you get into, you are always looking for perfect structure and all the joints really open. So if someone were now to push me, and this is impossible to show on Zoom, so you can copy here. So feet shoulder width apart, whichever hands you like, it doesn't matter. And notice one hand's further away than the other. Yeah. I bend my knees and I sit down. That's my bum dropping and my spine opening at the back. And my shoulder blades between them up in the middle there follows. And now I feel like I'm just expanding all the joints in my body. Whether or not I'm breathing in or out, I feel like the space appearing between the joints. So we don't have to fix this to a breath in or out. Now the bones in my hands are opening, the bones in my palms, my shoulders are widening, my hips are widening. So as soon as you widen the hips, you're going to find you suddenly possibly started to not tense around this area. When you open the pelvis sideways, what also happens is you stop gripping inside your pelvis, where your pelvic floor is. No, not so much where your pelvic floor is, more where the anus is actually. You stop gripping up there quite so much, but also it's like it creates space from here. So you have a lot of attachments from your spine, which travel down to the legs, down to the thighs, through the middle of your pelvis. And we actually want to relax the guts of the pelvis, the inside of it. So we have a feeling of the pelvis doing this. And when that happens, it literally creates a very small amount of extra space in the pelvis, and the muscles actually can undo. So sometimes you'll do this, whichever way around you like, and you go pelvis widen. Oh yeah, okay, so I felt that. Taking place within my pelvis, it's like everything undid. I think I've in the past used the rather disgusting analogy of, well, it's not really disgusting at all, but of when you sit down, you know, on the loo, and you're going to sit down and you're going to pass a motion, as they say. And what do? You definitely don't tense up there. You relax and you allow the pelvis actually to widen very slightly. But you do it so spontaneously, so naturally, you don't even think about it. But that's in effect what we're doing here. We're allowing the inside of our pelvises to undo, so you have the same feeling.